And it's time for us to start our meeting, and I'm going to call it to order, and I'm going to pray. Oh, Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you, Lord, for the beginning of school. Thank you, Lord, for our children and our teachers and our other staff. Oh, Heavenly Father, just be with us as we go along this school year and have it the way you should have it. Oh, Heavenly Father, thank you for having us to have the teachers and the staff that we need to. And as I always say, we're going to put you first, God. We're going to put you first. And oh, Heavenly Father, we want to pray for anything or everything that has happened, maybe some things that I don't know about. But Lord, let's just pray about it. Let's just put it in your hands. And as I say, and as I always say, we're going to start with you first. Amen.
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 I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you all have had time to look at the agenda, and yes, right here. So is there any,
Madam Chair, looking at the agenda, I would like to make a motion that we move the safety and security salary discussion out of executive session and into open session. That would make it action item 7E.
Second.
could you give me a little reason for that?
Yes, ma'am. We'll have a second, so we'll just move to discussion. We were already planning to discuss the safety and security position in regards to it being on a new salary schedule. It's vacant right now, and it needs to be posted, so there's somewhat of an urgency, but just for the sake of transparency, I believe that discussions involving decisions around money and around the budget needs to be put into open session, and we're not speaking of specific employee in terms this is a position, so I believe firmly that we need to put this in public session since it's regarding money.
But if I'm correct, it's not a new position,
That's correct.
so we don't normally approve this for existing positions. I think we weave a tangled web if we start selecting position by position to review salaries. I think we open ourselves up to overlooking somebody. I think it should stay as is. That should be a superintendent's decision, in my opinion.
Correct, yeah. The superintendent, I believe, has the authority to, plan is to move it from one schedule to another. So it's just the position is changing, it's increasing in salary, and if we're going to, almost, in my opinion, it'd be somewhat of a budget amendment. Not a formal budget amendment, but there's more money that is to be added to it. And now as we speak about it, since it's not written on the agenda, but it's in the language of the Freedom of Information language at the bottom of the agenda under compensation, just for transparency's sake, I think it needs to be open open to the public for them to hear the discussion about this position.
So every time we do a raise, we're going to have to discuss it. Out of 1,800 employees.
Yeah, well, I think we should, yes.
I agree. I think the people would like to hear.
And that's changing policies, I think. Isn't that what we would be doing? It's
No.
changing policies.
No,
And we
no.
just can't change policies tonight.
There would be no policy change. In terms of the FOI, the agenda has been sent out, it's been posted, and Freedom of Information says we can't change that, but it's on the agenda under compensation, so it's not an addition to the agenda. It is just simply just moving, and we've done that before. We've moved things around on the agenda, so we'd just be moving it out of executive session into public session.
Okay, I need to get the correct understanding. I think when all the other times that we have discussed people salaries or salaries that we were doing, it was done in executive session. Am I wrong or right?
You're correct.
Okay.
But my understanding is this is not, we're not talking about a person. The position's vacant, and so we're not talking about a person, we're talking about the position, and it's gonna, we're looking at what the salary is gonna be for that position, which is, it should be in the public, just for transparency's sake. I think it needs to be in the public.
Well, it would be in the public once they're hired.
Correct. But the discussion in terms of raising the salary for that position should be made public.
But in the recent past, since y'all been on the board, we haven't done that. What would do that with principals?
What would be an example of that? You say the principals,
Principals.
yeah. There were discussions about individuals in those.
No,
Greatly, yes,
we
yes.
changed the salary schedule.
We did.
Correct, but they were tied to individual principals, and we cited principals who were very much underpaid, which did not need to be in public. So I think just for transparency's sake, it should go on the agenda.
And you said to change what to what?
We have to vote.
Yeah, there's been a second. It's just, would move safety and security salary discussion out of executive session into open session, and it would move to action item 7, there's A, B, C, D, it'd become action item E.
Yeah, it's been a second, but I just don't understand to do it like that now, and we haven't done the others. That's just my understanding. I don't understand.
Other than
Chairman.
Mr. Bradshaw gave the example of the principals, but we did talk a great deal about individual employees during that discussion, which should have been an executive session, and rightly so. Here, there's no person being talked about, it's just a position. So, for transparency's sake, I think for the people out there and the people watching at home, I think we need to have these
So
discussions
you just
about
want to
money.
move it from executive session to discuss this salary?
Correct,
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
It become action item 7E.
I'm fine with it. I call for the vote, Madam Chair. We're done.
So we're not setting a precedent for the future here. We're just talking about this one position because the position is vacant at the time. There wouldn't be any discussion about past or present salaries for that individual.
I can't,
Well,
I
if you're
can't
gonna
predict what
discuss,
the,
if you're
I can't
gonna
predict what the discussion is gonna be. The superintendent, I think, when we met, her recommendation is to make a change, and I don't wanna get into the discussion
Yeah.
here, but,
Right.
yeah, so,
I mean, all their salaries are public information anyway.
correct.
But you have already talked to the superintendent about it.
Yeah, she briefed us, last week.
Okay, we have a second and, okay, we had made a motion, you seconded.
It was just Thompson
Is
second.
there, with any discussion, I guess we've already discussed, but it's now time to vote. So if you agree with what has been said here tonight, raise your hand.
Okay.
You counted.
It's
Okay.
7 and 1.
Okay.
We're missing one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, it has been approved that we will discuss that and it will be moved on the agenda. So we approved the agenda and recognition of excellence of Superintendent Anderson School District 5 academic excellence.
Yes, ma'am. I am pleased tonight to be able to share with you, we have so many children that have scored the maximum score or perfect score on SE Ready end of course, advanced placement, and wind assessments. We have so many that they won't fit in this room, and their parents and guardians won't fit, and that's a great problem to have. And so what we have done for you today, because we just don't have the area for everyone to come, Brooke has created, done a phenomenal job, a slideshow so that you can see all of that. At the conclusion of this meeting, there is a card for each of those assessments that we want you all to sign. Has everyone had the opportunity to sign those? Perfect. So what we'll do is we'll mail each student a card from you all celebrating and congratulating them on their perfect score. So we'll start this without further ado and celebrate with our students this wonderful. Let's see. Can we turn it up a little bit?
We can just all hum.
As you can see, it is a lot of children, and we're so proud of each and every one of them. Thankful for the teachers, thankful for the administrators, thankful for their parents and their guardians, because it truly is a partnership that allows to create the learning environment to support this type of achievement. So we again want to congratulate our students. I'm just so thankful for the dedication again of our families and our students and our teachers and administrators to make that possible.
Well, thank you, and we are all proud of our students.
How many was that total, do you?
Unfortunately, I'd love to tell you, Mr. Price, but the data is embargoed.
Oh, well, that's right.
Until September 2nd. You were trying to catch me, weren't you? Until September 2nd. So the data embargo allows us to identify individual students and their achievements, but to do a summation, I cannot give you a summary until September 2nd.
Well, I see a smile on your face. That's kind of like when Amy's smiling, it's good.
There you go. So I am eager to let you know that.
Opportunity for citizens to address the board. I do have one. I think it's Miss Cynthia Windsor.
Excuse me, what was your name again?
Wanzer.
I was explaining
Wanzer.
to somebody about you today, and I said, let me make sure I get the name right.
Okay, I did never do Windsor.
You're good.
Now, what school?
Nevitt Forest. And one of those babies that was up there was mine when he was in second grade before he moved. I was so excited to see that. Okay, good evening. We're a few weeks into the school year, and my STEM class is off to a great start. My youngest students are learning to ask good questions and to plan, design, and execute investigations, while my older students are learning how to change the properties of materials for specific purposes. Did you know you can make a hole in an index card that will fit over your head and shoulders? When you visit my classroom, I can show you how. I've been here several times advocating for STEM at every elementary school. I was disappointed to hear we're moving backwards by eliminating the part-time STEM position at Varennes due to budget cuts. I mean no disrespect to those who made this difficult decision, because I know it wasn't an easy one to make. But now we have a teacher who truly understands and has experienced STEM's importance. Over 3 years, she's watched students grow tremendously, seen increased parent involvement, and observed kids come out of their shells, sharpen critical thinking skills, learn to work with different people, and persevere through challenges. Now, she has to attempt to squeeze these vital skills into her regular classroom time. Our other part-time STEM teacher sees her students becoming more confident problem solvers. They're not afraid to make mistakes and are learning to work with anyone they're paired with. These foundational skills will only enhance their learning when they reach middle and high school. I continue researching elementary STEM importance and haven't seen a single negative. I've contacted our middle school Project Lead the Way robotics teachers about what skills their students lack. Unanimously, they say sixth graders are missing creativity, problem solving, critical thinking, coding, following the engineer design process without giving up, and soft skills like resilience, teamwork, and communication. These are exactly the skills that I teach in my STEM classroom. We must adapt to our changing world. Many, many years ago, when I was in high school, I took a computer programming class called BASIC. Halfway through, someone realized BASIC wasn't enough anymore and switched us to Turbo Pascal. By the next year, that same class was now the C programming language. Someone in leadership knew change was necessary to give us the best opportunities, and I ask the same of each of you. According to the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report, students graduating in 2035 will enter a workforce where 65% of jobs will require skills that don't even exist today. We can prepare them to create those jobs or prepare them to compete for the remaining 35%. As a district, I think we should do both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hadn't heard the term basic in a long time.
That's all many, many years ago.
Thank you for your words. Action items, A7A, July the 15th, 2025, board meeting minutes. I hope you have read those. Could I get a motion?
Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion, we accept the previous board meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
I'll second.
It's been second. Vote. Okay, that's approved. Instructional materials adoption.
Yes, ma'am. We have put before you in your packet the textbook that we would like to adopt for a new merchandising curriculum. And adopting this textbook would allow us to offer an additional pathway for our children to earn credentials. And so this book, if you'll notice in your packet, it has been vetted and chosen by our teachers, but it's also been approved by the South Carolina's Department of Education's Instructional Materials Office. So we're just asking if you would, we're recommending approving this book entitled Retailing and E-Tailing.
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we approve the instructional materials recommended by the superintendent.
I'll second that.
Okay, so it's been properly moved and properly second. Could I get a hand? Vote. Okay, it's approved. Property easement.
Yes, ma'am. As you know, we are currently in a project that's the Fiber Resilience Project, and this is the project that we're utilizing to ensure internet service for our schools and all of our campuses, and we're in the midst of that. At a former board meeting, you all had approved and signed off on easements for that company to go to different sites and put in, it's not a tower, it's like a site. What is it?
Substation.
Substation at each of those easements. Well, there is one property, it's on Vanderbilt Road, that we now need, with your approval, to put in a Piedmont Natural Gas pipeline to the generator so that it can have power to that. So we are recommending that we approve this, let me get it right here, this property easement between us and Piedmont Natural Gas so that they can install the pipe that is needed to go to that substation on Vanderbilt Road.
I assume we don't see any future need to construct anything on that.
They already have their infrastructure there.
Okay. Just background, okay.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept this easement as presented.
Second.
Mr. Garcia, we got a second. Approval, raise the hands. so we passed. Property, we did that, transfer of funds.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to ask Miss Amy Hurd if she'll come forward. This is the time of year where we're closing out the former school year. We're still looking at things, expenditures that happened during the 24-25 school year, and we're trying to close out that budget. And I'm gonna ask Ms. Hurd to talk about our revenue versus our expenditures, and then the excess that we have, transferring that, however you wish, however the board might not want to transfer those funds to an account, but I'm gonna let Ms. Hurd talk about that.
Just 1 second, we're getting up.
Okay.
Everybody's computers.
While we were waiting, can we congratulate our teacher here, Miss Courtney Goldsmith?
Yes, we
Let's get-
can. What an honor. So deserving.
Okay, good evening. As Dr. Kelly mentioned, we are looking at last year and finalizing, closing out the books for last fiscal year 24-25 that ended June 30th. We are not quite there yet. We still get property taxes through August 30th that we have to close back into last year's books. So we're not exactly quite there yet, but we are very close. We have worked very closely with the schools to try to get all the payments for last year made. We are finished paying out our teachers for last fiscal year. They actually have received their first new paycheck with salary increases on last Friday. And so we are wrapping up the year. So we wanted to come to you and share some information with you. Please know that everything that you see in front of you is still approximated numbers. These are not final numbers, but we absolutely will share final numbers with you after we get your approval on how you would like to move forward. But what we're looking at is looking at the 24-25 school year and any funds that were remaining, moving them into a capital projects fund so we can continue to do capital projects in the future. This would help us to not have to go use our 8% money for debt increases for our taxpayers, and it just kind of puts it in a savings account where you can only use it for capital projects. We cannot use it for salaries or anything of that nature. So just want to make sure that you are aware of that. And this would be transferring it from the general fund to the capital projects fund. Currently, I know some of you were on the board back in January of 2024 when Mr. Grant and had a team come in and present to the board about our facility needs at that time, which were $246 million of current property that needed adjustments in the future. Some near future, some long-term future. So again, when they calculated the numbers at the end of 23-24, it was $246 million. We have done and have started some of those projects, so we are in the works with some of those projects, but there's still a major, because all of those projects that we're in the works with have come to you guys, so you would know what they are. So you know that we have not brought you $246 million worth of projects since January of 2024 when this was presented to you. A lot of it is infrastructure type things that are very costly, and then there's just some upgrades. It's a major project. I know we talked about the details of that facility study, but I just wanted to share with you that is one of the things that we're looking at when we do move funds to this capital project is roofs, and HVAC, and pipes, and all the fun stuff that it's hard to go to the taxpayers and explain why we need. So, our current year budget for 25-26 that you guys approved is $161 million. And the reason I'm sharing that is in these calculations, we always do fund balance as a percentage of budget. So I wanted you to know the number there. And then this time last year, our board decided that we wanted our fund balance to be 25% of the budget. So our fund balance as we started 24-25 is this $38,407,000. So as we're looking at some options for the board as to if we want to transfer some funds, all of the funds remaining, or none of the funds, it'll be completely up to the board and whatever they choose to do. But for some of you that saw the preview earlier, the numbers have changed slightly because I did go back and pull it as of this morning about 9 o'clock. So it's changed slightly. Our fund balance as of this morning was $18.197 million for last fiscal year. We do need to pay out the bonus, and I actually got those numbers right before I left, and I'm gonna share that during the financial statements, but it's very, very close to this number. And so that leaves about $15.7 million that I think it will be in that ballpark that is available for transfer. So one of the options is, and I just, again, shared with the agenda review committee some options, and we want to share it with the board. One is to transfer all of the current funds from the general fund over to the capital projects for future projects that we know are needed or will be needed. That would make your fund balance percentage 23.8% going forward. So at the beginning of last year, it was 25. If you move everything, it would be 23.83 going forward. The next two are really just arbitrary numbers of things that we have done in the past with our board, so I wanted to share that with you so you can make a decision on what you might want to do. One is leave $1 million in the fund balance and transfer the remaining amount. So if you were to do that, it would be leaving putting $1 million in the fund balance, transferring about $14.7 million. And that would make your fund balance 24.45% as of 25-26. The next one would be to, again, make your fund balance 25% of the budget, which would mean that you would need to leave in $1.891 million in the fund balance, and you would transfer approximately $13.8 million. And then one of the other options that we wanted to make sure that you obviously knew is available to you is not to do anything. You can let it all roll into fund balance and just have a higher fund balance, and that would make your fund balance 33.56% of the board. Of the budget. So those are kind of our options. One of the questions that I have been asked is, so why would we not just leave it in fund balance? And you can leave it in fund balance. And so this fiscal year, we would have a large fund balance, and I can explain some of the numbers to you on that. And then, so, you would make your fund balance 33.56%, and you would put a large amount in this year. Then next year, the board might say, hey, we got 3 schools that need new roofs. Oh, and by the way, this chiller went out and that chiller went out, and we spend $20 million next year alone. If we then we would be paying it out of fund balance. So next year, it may be that we've lost $20 million. And so sometimes that's really hard for folks to understand that really in the wash it's the same, but one year you have a big fund balance, the next year you lose a lot of money. And for bond rating agencies, they like stability. They want to know that the money's coming in and that it's going to be stable and that you can fund your projects. And so the general fund is a 1-year lapse. You have to approve a new budget every single year. The capital projects fund is really like a savings account. It sits there and it rolls over year after year. And obviously all this is shared and shown in our audit, so this is not something that everybody can't see, and it's on our website and everything under the audit report for everybody to see. So just wanted to, yes, sir.
So if we leave it in a fund balance, I'm assuming the fund balance is still drawing the same interest as the capital projects?
That is
Okay.
correct. Currently, the money in our general fund and our capital projects fund is sitting in one bank account. We keep it separate through accounting procedures. So that is one of the reasons why we have so much money, is that last year it was like $4.8 million in interest income. And so a lot of that is earned from the capital projects account, but it's just recorded in the general fund.
Okay.
So, yes, sir.
Ms. Hurd, and I'm correct, over the years, I've always been told by the auditors, it never made sense to me once you get, I understand the capital projects fund is a good thing, but once we get much over 30% of the fund balance, people from Columbia start frowning upon you like you're stockpiling money.
I can tell you that the folks in Columbia are watching school district fund
And,
balances.
and we still got the money in the project, which is where it'll go, be used anyway, I'm
Yes,
sure,
sir.
okay.
Yes, sir. And, so what we're hearing from organizations that represent education from Columbia is that the legislators are looking at the fund balance and making mandates onto schools and not putting funding sources with them because they say that they have healthy fund balances. Now, over the last, since 2020, we've all had healthy fund balances because we've all had a lot of ESSER
ESSER.
money to offset expenses that we've had in the past, that we had budgeted, that we paid other ways. This is the first year that we will not have any ESSER money whatsoever. We did have it through September 30th of last year. So we only had it a little bit of time last year, but we paid a lot of things for the entire year by September 30th. All of our software of $750,000 worth of software was paid before September 30th. It's currently, when you look in your financial statements, you will see that we're already paying that for this year. So there are a lot of things that have impacted the last several years with.
Well, and quite honestly, the ESSER money, where we were able to use it, brought a lot of our facilities up to par, like new roof at Hannah, new HVAC, which we would have depleted the capital projects had we had that. So we've tried to use it wisely, and that's where we stockpile so much extra money.
The
But
first grouping of ESSER money did not allow us to use anything for facilities, but the second two pots of money, especially the last pot of money, really opened up air quality, which was really facilities. We could do roofs, we could do some technology, we could do a lot of things that would have ultimately come from our general fund had we not had that option.
This is gonna be a hard question to answer, but what would you anticipate, like in a normal, non-ESSER environment? Let's go back to like 2015, say between 2015 and 19. What is a healthy amount to have remaining? And I know that's hard to answer.
That's a good question. I have seen everything from $30,000 over to $13 million when it was not an ESSER year. I probably personally, just Amy's professional opinion, if we looked at everything and it was $4 million, I would think that's a good year.
Yeah.
But I will say, the investment, the interest income being so high is kind of playing a factor in those numbers. I used to think if we were about $1 million, then I felt like we budgeted well. But I will say just a lot of things have changed since ESSER. Some of them are not related. I shouldn't say since ESSER. A lot of things have changed since ESSER. But what we're seeing is the state has a lot of extra money as well. And so they will send us money in July and tell us it was for June 30th. So we had two pots of money this year in your numbers this year that we got after June 30th that they said was for June 30th. So sometimes that plays a role in it. We had 3 utility companies that were under appeal with the county. And so that appeal from 2024 was paid in August, but because it was from a previous year, we rolled that back. So there are things like that that would play in my numbers, but if you take out any kind of crazy stuff, I would think that you would want at least $1 million. That would say that we budgeted pretty accurately, and then between vacancies, between dock pay, between extra revenue coming in, that's where we would like to be.
So this money that you're talking about now, that is money that's paid out to pay teachers and pay salaries?
This is what was left, yes ma'am, this is what was left over after all of that was done last year from the general fund. And what we're asking, a question is, would you like to move it to a capital project so it can be used for the capital projects of the needs of the future for our district?
But the money that's there, that money is always used for
Typically,
salaries.
it is used, or we have gotten extra for one reason or another, like almost $5 million for investment income. We didn't budget $5 million, so we exceeded the budget by that. So we've exceeded the budget in our revenues, and we've come under in some of our expenditure accounts, so the two together have caused this. Now, I will say, Mr. Thompson, there's a couple things now back to the state mandating things that were not funded, paid parental leave. We just take we looked at several years of, but when you're not paying people, we don't really have a great way of keeping up with it, so we put like $300,000 in the budget. One year we might spend $100,000, one year we might spend $30,000, one year we might spend $300,000. So there are big swings like that sometimes with these new mandates that we put a budget in that we may not use, that's gonna impact that final number.
We still got the enterprise money this past
We
year,
did.
and we never know when that's
We
gonna,
don't know when
and
that's
that's
going away.
excess of $1 million.
And the utilities, that was the appeal, was almost $500,000.
Yeah, so that's money.
We're not gonna have that next year.
Okay.
So there's several scenarios that I've talked to the county about that are just kind of like one-time monies this year. We did, during the budget process, increase our budget by $4.39 million. That will help offset this. So you've got $5 million sitting in investment income. We adjusted this budget that we're in right now by almost $4.4 million. So that's gonna offset some of this, and we don't have ESSER to offset some of the costs. So I think we're not gonna end up with numbers like this in the future. Or if we are, I'll be able to clearly explain to you why.
And Mr. Thompson, years ago, and I can't remember what year it was, we had a former politician, Prince here, made a big horse and pony show about it. He found us $1 million, but he left before Amy got to tell us that he mandated for us to spend $2 million. So it's kind of and answer your question, the first year I was on the board, I think we had $40,000 on the first audit. And I told him, we need to close today, this is it. That's not, I mean, there was no fund I mean, we're what, 12%, Rick? I mean, that's.
We had
So
to use
it's-
8% money.
Yeah, had to use
Which
8, and the
raises
and had to borrow
taxpayer-
money to make payroll, which, that's been the beauty of this extra money.
We
Said that
used to pay about $50,000 in interest
Yeah.
expense just to make payroll, because we had to wait, because it was so close.
And I think the
we did
year
have
interest
our-
rate shot up, even caught you off guard. When we looked at it, caught everybody off guard, because they just shot up so quick.
So by having this money there, basically, it's kind of like saving for expenditures that we know we're gonna have in the future.
You all
So-
on the board
Yeah.
know things that
So
you're
we're
talking
gonna
about.
have, a boiler goes out, that's $1 million, or lights in parking lots, or, those kind of things can be paid for out of that capital improvement. If we didn't have money sitting there, we would have to go to our 8% money, use that 8% money, which in turn raises taxpayer millage.
Right, yes,
So,
sir. You could go to fund balance until it got to your board policy of limit, and then if you go below that, then you do have to find other funding sources for the projects.
May I ask you what the superintendent's recommendation would be to do? And then if the people that have been on the board for some time, if you have some recommendation on what you do, I'd like to hear about those, if possible.
Yes, most definitely. My recommendation would to be move it all into that account, because we do have the 240.
Move it all into capital projects?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So that would be the option one that she described, 15.7 million transfer. And there are several reasons for that. We have that needs assessment that was completed a couple of years back, which we know we cannot fix all of those problems at this time just because of the sheer cost, $247 million. We're working on it, and we're working on a project at a time. But we also know that McCants Middle School is probably our most unsafe school in this district just because it's open campus, right? There's buildings, and so we've looked and we've spoken with stakeholders, we've spoken on the board here about the possibility of needing to build a new middle school for McCants. We've also looked at Robert Anderson. Robert Anderson being almost 1,200 students, and we've talked to stakeholders and we've talked here on the board that we might want another school to decrease that size. That school is not overcrowded. It's built for 1,200 children. But I think from stakeholders and from you all, there might be some discussion there about wanting to make a smaller middle school. Those two projects alone, to build a middle school, we had conceptually drawings drawn up about 2 years ago, $70 million. So we have a roughly around 40.
We have about 70 million between sales tax and capital projects.
Okay, so right now we
It'll
have
wipe us
that.
out.
Yes, and that is not taking into account some of the things that you guys are currently working on, that would need to come
Well,
out.
we got some things we're working on too that are going.
Right. So that would be my recommendation, to move that money, because you can always utilize it for your capital projects. And so it is there, just as Mr. Bradshaw said, as a savings account, and then we can use it there. So that would be my recommendation, but again, that I'm just trying to look in the future. I know the capital projects that we have currently, the needs we have, but also some things we want to accomplish.
And Mr. Thompson, I'm 100% agreement with Dr. Kelly. I mean, I don't think the capital projects, those of us, I think everybody's on pins and needles. The economy's been so good for so long, and everybody's waiting, when's it gonna go down again? And everything goes in a cycle, and I just felt like with all the needs we've got, and we do have some other things in the works, my opinion, from what I've seen over the years, I'd rather have in the capital funds project, and, if we need it, it's there. I mean, it's not like we're spending it, we're just moving it.
And just for the sake of the record, we have not asked for a millage increase but one time in the last 4 years. So we are not saving this money on the backs of the taxpayers purposely. You know, we aren't raising money to just put funds in the capital projects.
By saving it, we keep from asking them for a tax increase. That's the way I've always looked at it.
And interest, back to, I'm thinking about it from a financial aspect, is if the two projects that Dr. Kelly just mentioned, if the board decides they want to do middle schools, that will take bonds to do those, if you want to do both of them. Or even probably some bonds if you want to do one, unless you're waiting to want to run school works some more money just from other things that we're already doing. We probably wouldn't have enough for even one middle school at this point. So, depending on how much that bond issue is, interest can add up quickly. And knowing that we have the money and that we are fiscally responsible, I would rather the bonding agencies look at our financial statements and look at our audit reports and us show them where our funds are located in these funds, being very transparent, where we have the savings accounts and we're spending it there instead of doing huge fluctuations. A triple B versus a triple A minus may cost this district $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. Probably in the millions, depending on how long we do the bond payback for. So I just want, I want to be transparent in my role to you to say that the fluctuations of the general fund can impact bond rating agencies, and they're out of New York. They don't know the first thing about Anderson, South Carolina. I'm dealing with folks that are half my age that are just
Looking at balance sheets.
They're looking at financials, they're looking at accounting, financial paperwork. That's all. They don't know what the community's like. They don't know the hard work that you guys are doing. They're looking at financial audits. That's all. And I just don't, I personally need to stand up here and say that I don't want I'm not trying to sway the decision that you guys make. That is completely up to you. I just want you to know that I feel like that fluctuations in the fund balance swinging hugely could impact bond rates.
And if I were in their shoes, I'd look at it the same way. I mean, it's
We wanna know
business.
what
It's
happened.
business, yeah.
The capital projects list or the study, what was the total on that to do it all?
240.
247.
247. And what's remaining on that? Any idea?
247.
It doesn't get any cheaper as days go by, I'm sure.
As Dr. Kelly mentioned, we've chipped away at it over the years, but there's still a large amount.
Yeah. Nothing major, have we?
We've done some of the projects, but we're 2 years in and the numbers on the projects that are left are probably growing.
Yeah.
So chances of us making a huge dent in that are probably, I know we're gonna talk about some items later on that's on the facility study that you guys are gonna talk about. But, Wes and I looked today, we've looked at some of the projects. There are projects out there that were chillers and things that we're chipping at, but
Hey,
$4 or $5 million.
cost of a chiller, what is that roughly, Wes?
Whitehall was the most recent one, it was 100,000.
And how many buildings have we got in District 5?
The bigger cost is in the, like, at Westside High School, we spent $5 million changing out the system there, and we did 80% of the building. To change Hannon, you're looking at $20 million.
Yeah.
For HVAC.
Yeah, it's a significant cost. It's millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what's on this facility study.
And I think that's what people underestimate when they see the cost of these buildings. It's not salaries, it's buildings.
Oh, no, it's
So-
buildings.
Yeah, it's buildings there.
And unfortunately, that's another negative of COVID, is that there's only so many contractors that can do HVAC.
And the prices went up.
And it probably tripled in
Yeah.
price on us from what ones that we had
Well,
done
because
in the
they
past.
knew you had to spend it by, I know Mr. Wilson even said they tried to get the politicians, look, let us sit on this and earmark it, but when the prices come down, they wouldn't. So everybody paid a higher rate for everything.
And as we all know, nothing's come down,
No.
everything's gone up.
My constituents would like us to look at the possibility of selling the downtown district office building, which was $7 million. just consider that.
Yeah, that's the pleasure of the board. If the board would like to do that, that is the pleasure of the board.
We gotta build something to replace it.
And the,
Or do something else.
you saying the capital projects and general fund money is both being invested in one account in the LGIP, and you said the interest, from those diverts to the general fund? Okay.
I would need to double check with the auditors. In my mind, I can't think of a reason why we couldn't, but if the board decided, hey, let's stop reporting that in the general fund and start putting that all in the capital projects,
Okay.
maybe outside of what we have budgeted, which is $175,000, and when I show you July financial statements in just a few minutes, we're already 2.5 times more than that in 1 month. So that's another thing that's obviously, we will take the direction from the board on whatever you would like, but that is an option that we could, again, I just need to clarify that there are no accounting rules or regulations for
Right.
those monies that I don't know of from our auditors, but I don't think they are.
I really like that idea. Diverting
The
the investment into capital improvements.
Because again, that is just fluctuating your fund balance,
Right.
it's really not there. I mean, because
Exactly.
I went back and looked, over the last 3 years when I was gathering some information, and our investment income 3 years ago was $400,000 total for all of the money in the district. So it's been over the last few years when it's gone crazy high, our interest income. And we are saving more money, which puts more money in the account to draw interest. So, again, whatever the board would like to do on that standpoint, if that's something you would like for us to ask the auditors, just to get the, I don't wanna go rogue and do something and then get written up, and, but I can't think of anything. I've been thinking about that since I answered your question, Mr. Thompson, about that. I was like, I wonder why I haven't thought about that it's being earned on part of that money. Why couldn't we just move it into that fund and report it there? But if that's something that the board would like us to do, I would be glad to reach out to the auditors.
The other thing when she was talking about her constituents saying something about the building downtown, how much that building is costing us a month?
I believe one second, I can give you an answer
Well,
as to what the
even with
utility
that,
costs
then
are.
you would have to move those people somewhere else.
The
I've got
utility-
constituents that are tickled to death with the building, so it works both ways.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have some, yeah,
I mean, it's beautiful.
that says that
We don't have
some
those
people that
dilapidated, I
don't.
mean, we've got a city tearing down buildings downtown now just to clean them up.
You have less than $35,000 that you would save by selling that building in your reoccurring cost. Because the rest is salaries and, programs that, if my department moves, all those expenses go with me. The only building-related cost is water and gas and utilities, and that's $31,000. And then we have custodial supplies for the year, that's $2,500.
Okay. Another thing I heard the superintendent say, and I like to keep things in my mind correctly, because you said something about a new McCants, but not from that site. Okay, not moving it from that site, we're just doing something to the buildings because they're so old.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, I think, we discussed that over the years, and I think what we've come to conclusion is people don't like mind living near a school, but don't build one in your backyard. So nobody can, if when we get to that point, or whoever does gets to that point, you tear it down and rebuild, nobody can complain. If y'all were, some of y'all remember when Cathy Road, the sign saved Cathy Road, North Point was gonna be on Canton, and that community's in turmoil. I don't think anybody complains where it is now, so I think that's what we've always looked at is tear down, rebuild there, because nobody can say there's a new school popped up.
Well, that sounds good, but
Yeah.
that's why I want to keep it in my
Yeah.
mind that that's what she's saying, do something there, and we're not looking for land on some other side of town for another middle school. So
Plus,
I understand.
if we had to buy 40 acres of land,
Now, what you bring that up?
yeah.
Might as well tell me y'all on my meeting. Okay.
I'd just like to say that you're doing a fabulous job, and your record speaks highly of you, and if your recommendation is to move it, I'm for moving it.
I agree.
I agree.
Whatever your recommendation.
I said this time, we've got the best CFO in the state of South Carolina, in government finance, we do, hands down.
So we need a motion?
Well,
Well, based on the discussion, I guess it's ended, I'll make a motion that we choose number one, which is transfer all current year fund balance, which is approximately 15.7 million, to capital projects.
I'll second it.
it's been, made a motion and we, second, is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, we'll go into voting,
8-0.
so it approved.
I think Ms. Sandra wanted that
We will
.7
bring
in
the
her
exact
notes.
amount, as soon as we make that transfer, we'll bring it.
What-
Thank
what
you,
i-
Amy.
What interest rates are you getting now, Amy?
I'm sorry.
What interest rates are we getting? Okay, so it's, thank you, Amy.
Till Friday.
To Friday.
So we're down to number 7.
E.
Mr. Tripp wanted to discuss something, and, so we'll let him do that.
Now we'll defer to superintendent.
Yes, ma'am. So we have a vacancy, our school safety and security supervisor. That position was adopted by the board in January of 2024. And initially, that position was adopted to help our high schools. Our high schools were needing additional services to oversee not only SROs and help them and coordinate them, but also security, our security folks. And so since that time, over 18 months, that job has expanded. And we just recently, the board just recently voted to add the Evolve systems to the middle schools. So that's going to take an additional time and responsibility. In addition, which I'm very proud of, and thank Lieutenant Pillar for bringing this to us, we have implemented Centegix. Well, Centegix is a district-wide security system that includes every campus and every teacher in the school and personnel.
Just like a button.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's a lanyard that they wear. And so we're in the midst of right now getting that training, implementing that. So due to just the need of our districts and the expansion of the responsibilities, this position, which was school safety and security supervisor, 18 months ago was on group 2. Due to the expansion, again, that I've mentioned and what we've added to that position, I am recommending it go to group 4. And I have that here if anybody wants to discuss what the difference is between group 2 and group 4.
Just tell us, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Madam Chair.
Yeah. Like to
Okay.
know what
Maybe
it
the
is.
starting, step 1 and then the step 28, the differences between the
Okay.
two.
So
What
if
the
this,
range is.
if this hadn't, whatever came up, hadn't came up, were we gonna move this man's salary again because we were doing this other stuff?
I would have brought it to you for discussion, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So group 2, starting, salary is $52,606. The max on that salary scale is $84,468. That's group 2. Group 4, the starting step for that group is $59,117, and the highest, the max step is $94,920.
So all in all, we're
Is
not
there,
talking a lot of difference.
excuse me, is there a group 3?
There is a group 3, yes, ma'am.
Look how many
Would you like for me to
groups.
read that one?
Yeah, why'd you skip over?
It just, we're wanting to get someone with a lot of experience and a lot of higher caliber so that we can ensure that our school safety is at its peak. So, but yes, I'll read group 3 for you. Group 3, the starting salary is $56,947 and the max salary is $91,438. That is the discussion around the school safety and security supervisor.
When you're bringing somebody in that's not, like a teacher per se, how do you determine what step they're starting at? Like
It's a
what-
combination of their years of experience within that position somewhere else, plus if they've had any teaching experience at all.
Okay.
But if it's not a teacher, we look at their years of experience within that same position somewhere else.
Can you repeat the ones you proposed?
Oh, yes, ma'am. That would be group 4, and so the starting salary would be $59,117, and the maximum salary would be $94,921.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
I'll second it.
So we're moving from group
Two.
two
She's
to
still
four.
to
with
group
a-
four.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Superintendent, when you answered Mr. Thompson's question about how you determine, is that in writing and personnel? I mean, I know Mr. Mahaffey talked about it for many years and heard everybody talk about it. Do we have that policy or that procedure in writing?
I don't know if it's in policy, but Ms. Bufford, is it in procedures?
It's not policy, but procedures. Okay, just curious. It's always been
Yeah,
out
correct.
there,
Yes.
and we've always talked about it, but yeah,
Yes.
yeah, okay, thank you.
So the guy that you're trying to get now would have been what?
Well, we don't have anybody in mind, so we're wanting to post it and post it at a group 4 rather than a group 2, so that we can see what caliber of candidate we can get that might be interested.
Can you read group two again, too?
Sure. And I have the job description, I'll be glad to give it to you, Ms. Leverett, as well. Group 2, the starting salary is $52,606, and the max salary is $84,468.
Thank you.
How many days will they be working? Is it 285?
It's 240?
240? 240?
Do you have the job description there?
I do, right here. I
Generally,
sure
the
do.
most important things are the first few bullets. Read the first maybe 4 or 5 if you don't
Let me
mind,
pass these
just
out
out of
to you all,
curiosity.
that way you'll have those. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And I'll ask Mr. Grant to come forward as well. He leads this division, and he works with Lieutenant Pillar. That's the job description.
Yeah, but where's Lieutenant Pillar?
I'm sorry.
Where's Lieutenant Pillar?
He was here earlier. He's here somewhere. And Mr. Grant, if you want to talk about the key parts of this job description.
Sure, yes, ma'am, I did not bring my copy.
I'll have you one.
Here you go, good, she is.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly, members of the board. Would you like for me to cover them, or you just want to touch on them and mention some things that Mr. Pillar mentioned to me? Dr. Kelly touched on a lot of the new responsibilities this person is going to have in addition to what this person's been doing. But one of the other things that Mr. Pillar would like to see this person doing is to be more capable in training our staff members. He's primarily the source of our training and faculty need, and we'd like to train him. And we need another person to be capable, and have those skills to be able to do that, in addition to the things that you see listed, in this job description. Training is just an element that we're really trying to improve. Ms. Pillar's done a great job since she's been doing it, but we would just like to be in front of people in front of them. This person will supervise and oversee this private security officers as well. Ultimately,
How many of those do we have, Wes, private security?
We
Fresh
have
on me.
7 since started, is that right, with the high school? I think the
No.
admin.
Okay, thank you.
And this will give Mr. Spiller an opportunity to basically divide the district into cluster and make the focused training efforts, and basically do 2 times the training.
Good.
We're really seeing an impact with the trainers and how that's helping people be more prepared. It's not new information to our staff anymore, it's becoming repetitive, which is good. We want to train and prepare them. So when something does happen, and we hope it never does, it's ingrained in what we do.
And I can solidify that. When I do educator exchange meetings, I have those quarterly where I get teachers, 1 per school, and they come here actually in this room, and we just talk about what are great things happening in this district, what are things we need to fix, how can we help you, what is it that you need? And every one of those meetings, and it's a different teacher from a different school every time, so the teachers don't repeat. Every one of those meetings, they say, the training that we are getting from Lieutenant Pillar is the best we have ever gotten, and we feel so much more prepared and safe. So that training piece is essential.
That's a big added responsibility we'd like to add to this person.
It's a supervisor. How many other I know we have a bus supervisor. How many other people do we have that have that particular title, supervisor? Are they generally in that range of 2 to 4 on the group, on that particular group, do you know? No? Okay. Just out of curiosity. You don't want to consider director? Or
Not at this time.
since
There's some
Lieutenant Pillar-
other, we're gonna talk later about some additional needs we might have, so we can talk about that, but not at this time. Any other questions?
Is that motion and second?
Motion and second.
Yeah,
yes.
it was already motion and second, we
Thank
was
you,
just
Reggie.
doing a discussion of it. So after the discussion, what salary were we gonna use?
Group 4.
Is- My recommendation is group 4, but the motion, what was the motion?
Group
For
four, accept your recommendation.
So group 4 for E, 7E, and get me a paper with all that out, please.
Yes, ma'am.
So we were all ready to vote on it, cause we got a second, we've already discussed it. So, raise your hand. Okay. Superintendent's report now, number 8, adult education facilities improvement, and B is monthly financial report.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I'm gonna ask Mr. Grant if he'll come back up to the podium. We were asked and requested and gladly to do it, to look at adult ed. Adult ed, as you know, is on Main Street, and that building is around 100 years old. Part of that $247 million needs assessment that we continue to speak about, I believe it's 7.5?
105 years old.
$7.5 million of that is for adult ed. But we were asked to look at replacing the roof, the windows, and the window units, and that comes to a total of 1.3. So really just want a discussion with you all tonight as how you want us to move forward with this project. So Mr. Grant has done a great job researching this, working with folks to get you some detailed information. So he'll provide that for you and go over the packet, and then it's just really open for discussion of how you'd like for us to proceed.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. As Dr. Kelly mentioned, we prepared some pictures, which you had in your packet, but also we're showing this picture as well. Just to recap, Dr. Kelly mentioned this facility was constructed in 1919. It's 34,000 square feet. That includes all the structures on the property. It was originally built to accommodate an elementary school. It later, in the 70s, converted to supporting our adult education population. It has great history, but at the same time, it has great needs, being its age. There's hazardous material in the facility. Accessibility is a challenge there. Mechanical, electrical, plumbing system, all those things are end of life. And as Dr. Kelly mentioned, there's an accumulation of $7.5 million worth of things we know that facility needs. So we just wanted to brainstorm with you guys. Do we want to, just totally open to try to get feedback from you guys.
My recommendation, I told Madam Chair and Vice Chair the other day, my recommendation before we spend this kind of money, at least see what it costs to, and I know y'all say historical value, it means nothing to me. It's an old building. And for them, don't throw me on the bus, I've got a building older than that I work out of every day. I think we need to look at maybe, I know it costs a little bit to get a plan from the architects, what would it cost to demo and build something more modern, energy efficient, that's more suited. I don't think you need 34,000 feet. That's on the size of some of your schools. It's just like McCants, we're sitting here talking about a building that's 60 years old, needs replacement, but we're looking at saving one that's double that age. That's not spending the taxpayers' money wisely. That's my opinion.
That's why we wanted to talk with you guys.
I have an opinion on that too. I'm for spending the 1.3 million. We've got a building that is being used. It's being used for adult education. Not long ago, within the last 10 years, it was used for Project Challenge Playhouse. Not Project Challenge Playhouse, but Project Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
We actually bus students from schools to there. You know, my kids say it was a great experience for them. Yes, the building has needs, but, you know, we put in 2 chillers and we've spent $1 million. You know, we've put a roof and spent $5 million on a roof at other places. I say when you have a viable building, of course, you don't want to have to go and spend $8 million today, and to keep it viable, that's not necessary. You know, yes, there's asbestos in a lot of our buildings, but we don't go tear them down because it's there. You know, this is downtown. It gives us, you know, one of our schools on Main Street. I just think the building is way too valuable in different reasons to tear it down when we can keep it viable and running for $1.3 million. You know, our adult community enjoys it. There are a lot of classes that they take, and it's so centrally located that, you know, people from all over the county can utilize this building. You know, if you tear it down, will we really build it back? You know, we can spend $1 million, but are we gonna spend $35 million to rebuild it? I say we keep it viable and we do a project along the way to keep improving it. That's my suggestion.
Let me ask this, who would bus their kids to go to school here every day?
You know, if you look at adult education facilities all over the state, they're not in 100-year-old buildings, but ours is viable. It's a testament to your department of how well we maintain. Look at the age of McCants. I mean, do we want to tear it down? It's probably got asbestos, so should we tear it down? And, you know we might someday, but, you know, what should we do? I'm for keeping it.
What size building would you need for adult ed? Let me rephrase that way.
Well, when I toured adult ed, and I've been in it several times, but they actually have an open house, and I went into the open house, and they are using that main part. Wes, if you'll go back to that aerial view, that first one. So, yes, all right, so I'm gonna say the light gray looks like a T.
Mm-hmm.
The light gray building, that's office areas, and we have a transition coach in there. We have Katie Brown, of course, who's the executive director. She's in there. There are several offices in there, but there's also computer labs in there. So when the children, I call them children, but they're adult students, when they go to take the assessments that they need to take in order to receive their GEDs or diploma track program that they're on, that's all in that main building. The long building that's at the bottom of that T, that actually has classrooms in it that we utilize for classrooms. So if you were to take that building and cut it in half through the middle, not long ways, but through the middle, that right side, all day, every day, there are 3 or 4 classes on top and 3 or 4 on the bottom. They're used. If you go to adult ed, those classrooms have students either teaching in those classrooms, and they have anywhere from 10 to 20 students in there. So to answer your question, I took the long way around, and I apologize, Mr. Price. You're going to need between 6, 8 classrooms, and then probably 4 or 5 offices, and you'll definitely have to have at least 1 computer lab. That's what you would need just for the adult ed piece of it. So I'm giving you a rough guess of that,
So in other words, a third of it.
probably.
We talked, Dr. Kelly and I looked at these same numbers, and we were thinking around 10,000 square feet would accommodate what Dr. Kelly just described.
My concern, I guess, the only thing I would be concerned about is if we start tearing it down and rebuilding, is how much land we have. Because you're gonna have to bring everything up to the current code. If you tear down and rebuild, you're gonna have to bring the parking lot up to code, landscaping ordinance up to code, buffer yards, setbacks, buildings. And you could never build that much square footage on that parcel of land and meet all the requirements to today's standard. Now, when you renovate an existing building, there's an existing building code that allows you to do some things in renovating and updating without bringing the whole facility up to a current code. You know, if I go along, say, with Tommy's recommendation to do a feasibility study on this site, it would, to me, it would be, okay, what can I master plan this site for? Not any building drawings, just a site. How much square footage can I get on a one-level building? Because at 10,000 square feet, you're gonna, if you do 2 levels, you're gonna be elevator, 2 stairs, you're blowing 500, 800 square feet in just elevators and stairs. So it's not, to me, unless you're just landlocked, you would try to do it all on one level. And then could you get a 10,000 square foot building on here? And that's gonna be $3.5, $4 million just in the building. And could you get the associated parking and all the zoning ordinance and the stipulations on this site?
And those are all things we have to explore.
And when we don't spend this $1.3 million with a roof that leaks, you're pretty much saying, next year, we're gonna have to find somewhere else to put these people. You know, it's, leaking roofs destroy a property.
Sure.
So that's almost a have to now.
Is there any central air in this thing?
They're,
I mean, I see window units, I mean, I would not want to be in an office with a window unit, that's just,
I think the 1.3 million, takes those window units out and puts in split units.
okay, mini splits, okay,
we'll be replacing those.
okay.
The 1.3 million, we had contractors come out and estimate new windows, what it would take to put a new roof on, and by replacing the windows, we would obviously take the opportunity to take those units out.
So we're talking about just the gray building?
We're talking about, in this case, just the gray building, but for the windows, no, we're talking about the T.
Oh, both buildings would get new windows?
New windows and new roofs.
Is there any chance,
It's a
and I know this
no-brainer.
is a open-end question, is there any chance if you start doing that, you're running like they did with I think the courthouse
Bathrooms?
downtown,
Oh, yeah.
or is that just a crapshoot?
Anytime you start renovating, you know, you'll
Yeah.
hit things that you'll anticipate, and you'll hit some things you don't anticipate. So I would anticipate we're gonna find surprises along the way that will cost us money. We were just trying to get a sense from the board, what's the pleasure of the board to pursue? You know, is it the interest to renovate this property as is over the coming years? Invest the money we need to invest in to really make it a quality programmable place? I mean, I think that's the question.
Well,
Do you know what-
honestly, I sound like I'm on an island by myself, so everybody wants to put a roof and windows out, I'm fine. I mean, I'm with whatever the board wants to do. I mean, you know, there's,
Well, have we done a feasibility study? Do we know what this building's constructed out of? Is it concrete and steel? Is it R-joists? Is it wood studs and wood trusses? Do we know?
We have not done that yet. We would need to engage the architect certainly when we
Yeah.
start to make.
Because, I mean, like, if it's CMU and bar joist, I mean, that's easy, a 100-year building. I mean, you're just updating. But now if it's wood studs and wood trusses, then, you know, you could start arguing the fact, is it worth spending the money on a 100-year-old building?
have we had any engineering or architectural study on it? That might be the process we want to do before we move forward, if we want to re-roof, I would suggest.
We did have Michael Chooney with us, and we looked at the sites, and one thing he's already noted is the energy code requirement for the roof is not going to be compliant, so we're going to have to install insulation on top of the existing deck and then deck over it. Which would
That's
mean-
Kind of like we did at Hannah.
I mean, we have to, exactly, we have to, I mean, the guttering,
And that's included in our.
So we'll update
rough
the
estimate.
outside look of it. I mean, okay.
And if the board is interested in making these improvements, then what we would propose is we engage the architect and let's see what the materials are, what's our capability to make this improvement. And then
I mean, we've got to do something to it one way or the
spend a
other.
little money in design and get the bid price in, and then bring that back to you guys.
Is it gonna be like Southwood, 1.5 to 3.5?
I'm a little hesitant.
I don't know if you knew anything from 3.5 now.
I would like to say something. The building is historic. People love that. I mean, my dad went there the first year it opened. Of course, he was over 100, but I went there for a few years, first grade and up, and then I went there to take computer classes later when everybody was learning computers. So, I mean, it is historic. And then even the kids at the Project Playhouse, they didn't want to go to the Calhoun. I understand they wanted to be there. I mean, everybody loves these old buildings, you know. But if you think about it, if the downtown building, if you could get the $7 million back out, we could do it up, the price tag on the paper. I mean, just,
You won't get that for that building.
So,
And again, my constituents are content with it. They love it.
Well,
but you could put them here because this is 34,000 square feet and there's only 26 about people down there.
Well, the way she was saying too, I thought these people come in and out down there, because when we first talked about it, I said, hey, send them over there. But just to look at this, but when you came up with about the studs and all that, well, I don't know anything about that. But I'm just looking at the brick part. The brick part looks okay. And like you said, we put the windows in, then take the air conditions out of the window, you might could fix it up. But now, see, I don't know about the studs and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
So I think Wes's recommendation, you know, to just engage the architects. We don't have to spend a lot of money to get some drawings, have an inspection to see what we've got. You know, I might change my mind if those prices continue to go up. But, you know, for what we've been doing, I think that's a logical next step. We're not approving spending $1 million, maybe $10,000 or so to draw everything up.
And what about looking at the Project Challenge, you know, doing that again?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, my daughters did go to that as well, and, I mean, there's just a lot of good, like, it causes people to try to excel.
It does.
Wes, your write-up mentions mechanical and electrical and hazardous material abatement. The price doesn't include any of that?
No, sir, it does not.
Okay. And
Not the 1.3.
you affectionately refer to it as being on end of life, so we're giving it life support, basically, is what we're doing. So it includes no facelift, facade looking better.
$1.3 million is simply, and these are conceptual costs. We need to really get through the design and get actual costs. But the 1.3 million is for a roof replacement, window replacement, and removing the AC units from the windows.
I agree with getting the architect to look and see what it would cost, because if we're gonna stay in it, if that becomes feasible, we haven't even mentioned, you know, let's make it better for the employees, better for the students who are in there, because it's a 100-year-old building. It's quaint, but it could use a facelift on the outside. Now, looking at the picture up there, those trees, the big oaks that were there, those are gone, right? Did the storm take those out, or did we take those out?
The big tree in the front, recently, when we put in the new parking lot for the Project Challenge Playhouse, years later, that tree eventually, we saw it dying and we had to cut it back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really improved the look a little bit. You got grass in there, so,
It was a huge.
yeah, yeah. So, I agree the location of it is good for the district. I think it's just great for the people that go there. They can ride the bus and all
I
that
think you
sort
have a
of
lot
thing.
of ride the bus too.
Yeah, so, but if we could, you know, just upgrade it, so if it's got the bones,
Yeah.
make it feasible.
I think the dark roof building does. I mean, I've been in it before, and it's 2-story, and I think it's concrete and steel, and, I mean, it's got tall
Is it a newer
ceilings.
building,
and,
or-
I don't know if it's a beautiful building, I
The-
mean, and.
The dark roof,
Yeah.
so that's the back
Yes.
Mhm.
So the front is white. It's because we painted it. It's tin. It's a tin roof that's been nailed, and it looked so bad where paint had flaked off, and over time just patching. We're not doing it before it's time. We thought white paint would help.
Well,
Only
thank
from the
you.
aerial picture.
And it needs a paved parking lot in the back.
Oh,
Is that still
yes, it
gravel?
does,
Yeah,
yes.
I mean badly.
Yes, it
Badly.
does.
Well, thank you. I think this discussion has left us.
Just get a
Yeah.
little more clarity, so are you guys expecting me to work on the $1.3 million scope of work we talked about, or look at what,
I think what we do, we need to make sure the buildings,
yeah, make sure we can do?
we can do that too, yeah.
Just a feasibility study,
And
build
I
it
think-
first.
Yeah,
And then if it's feasible, I mean, if it's a,
would start with the roof and AC and then go
Yeah.
from there, I think, yeah.
you don't want to start, you don't want to throw money into a sinking ship.
Well, that's what I'm concerned about, is getting down the road, starting with this smaller commitment and growing, and then going, why didn't we just build something new? And you know more than I do about what it would cost, but I'm not quite as sold on keeping it on life support.
So I'm not on island by
No.
myself.
Well, and here's another thing. McCants is basically on life support. Right now, we put $1 million into a chiller for McCants. $1 million into a chiller. The thing looks like a double wide mobile home. It is so big. It's got a door, you can walk in it. But, it's not the first time we spend money on a building to keep it viable.
We got kids
I don't
in there,
think
we
you have
gotta
an
keep it
option
viable.
with that one.
Exactly.
And here we went to school without air conditioning.
Walking school uphill both ways.
All right. Well, thank you all so much
Thanks, Wes.
for the discussion. I think that has helped us greatly. All right, Ms. Hurd, if you want to come forward, she'll be able to discuss our monthly financial reports.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, Dr. Kelly, members of the board. Got a few things. The financial statement part will be the easiest part that I do tonight. I did put 2 pieces of information at your place before the meeting started. If you will look at the one that's got some green highlights on it at first, this is just a report that the county creates yearly that we do provide to our auditors. And this is the amount of funds that county council has given companies that move into Anderson County. It's broken down by school district, the alternative school, the Board of Education, and the Career and Technology Center in Districts 1 and 2. It shows the funds that each one of these locations would receive if the manufacturing or the companies that come into the area did not receive a fee in lieu of agreement. So if they paid property taxes versus a fee in lieu of agreement, these are the funds that the school districts would have received. So you can see for Anderson 5, for school operations, for equalization, and for our bonds, that would be $15.1 million annually that, sorry,
Yeah, I got one.
that we did not receive this fiscal year that we could have received. So you can look and see that every Tri-County Tech is on here, Anderson 1 through 5, Alternative School Board of Education. So all of the school education entities are being hit by the fee and lieu agreements that county council makes when we bring companies in. Additionally, we have Act 388 that impacts our taxing ability as well. So unfortunately, like we've talked about as a district and as a board many times, we are squeezing the same group of people all the time to fund school operations. So the big guys are getting off, and the residential homeowners, it's your average companies and the folks that are here that are not the large manufacturing companies that are funding our schools in all of our counties.
That's right, it's the small business owners that get taxed.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah.
Between this and between the legislation Act 388, that is our only option.
Manufacturer's gonna Rucco on, did they get fee in
I
lieu
don't
of?
know. I need,
I figure they're still gonna open it so they don't have to pay the tax on it this year.
I'll find out.
Probably not.
Normally, they have all their Project Cougar, they don't tell us the taxing entity that's coming until the fee in lieu of agreement is already made. So we don't typically know who they're giving them to until after the fact. And then even the companies that have them, when they run out, they can renegotiate with county council to get more.
And I understand both sides of it, I do. I mean, it creates jobs and they spend money, so.
And the only thing that I know that, we talked about before, two things that we talked about, county staff says that the agreements are made and there are no way to make sure that the companies are meeting the requirements that they promised, jobs, investment in the community, to get the offsetting credit. They just said we don't have the staff to do that. And then there are other states that also do not abate the school taxes. So they give all
I think
of
Georgia
the,
doesn't it?
so they give all of the, they abate all of the county and municipality taxes. They leave either all of the school taxes or a portion of the school taxes because, as like Dr. Kelly and I were talking to, an elected official last week, and people don't wanna come into a community if you don't have good schools. I think Anderson County has great schools. I think the upstate has great schools. I think that's why we are, growing and booming and everything, but it takes all of us to make sure that we have a good school system. So, I wanted to share that with you. The other piece of information that you have out in your packet is our auditor's engagement letter. And I do want to draw your attention to one piece of information, it's on the second page. And so if you are reading this, it's down toward the bottom, it's got the little number one there. And it says items that we've identified as significant risk of material misstatement during our pre-planning. The AICPA, American Institute of CPAs, they have the auditors put this in all audit letters during pre-planning. So the auditors can audit during the planning process. And if they see that this is still a risk after auditing the district, it will be in your management letter that comes to you after the audit. So I just wanted you to know that why that's written in there is that is written in there on all of their clients because it is an inherent risk that folks are overriding the controls, and it's their duty to test those to make sure that is not happening. And if they do see that it is still happening after they audit us, they will write that in your management letter to you guys. So I just didn't want you to think they had found something in Anderson 5 and written that in there. So I said that's in all their clients. It's a national standard that they have to write, and they have to make the assumption that we're doing something wrong. So when they come in, they audit enough to make sure that they are comfortable taking that out. So just wanted to share that information with you as well. And Craig, can you?
It's already.
It's ready? All right. So let's, first off, we will look at, our sales tax. So again, another great month. You can see our May collections was $1.34 million. That is $32,000 more than last month. And then if you come back up here and look, 1.34 versus 1.26. So that's $85,000 more than the same time last year. So again, very, very good collections for May, still coming in strong. $269,000 of that went to lower our debt obligations and $1 million over into capital projects. So that is where we are for, so we'll have one more month at the end of, at next board meeting, we'll have completed the entire fiscal year, and we'll look at some summary information for the fiscal year on how sales tax compared to in 24-25 to previous years. Well, I guess you can see this, we've already almost caught the entire year last year before we do what we did.
Maybe scroll back up to the prior year. So we haven't had a month in 2 years, we had less than $1 million.
Oh, no, sir.
Yes.
I can keep going.
Or it goes back further than that.
Wow.
We have not had a less since, October
Yeah,
of
COVID.
2020, that we were less than, I'm sorry, right here. So February of 2021, was the last time we had less
4.5
than
years.
$1 million. And, you know, we've been hovering around the 1.1, these were good months, 1.2, and now we're hovering at the 1.3s. So it's just continuing, folks are continuing to spend money, and that penny is continuing to come back into our schools.
Thanks to
Way more
inflation.
expensive.
Yeah.
That is true, that is very true.
Thanks to
So,
20% inflation.
That is sales tax. Let me, that's not what I must not have said correctly. So, I will send you your, financial, yeah. I will send the financial information to you. I have this for 24-25. Looking at July of 24 versus July of 25. I can tell you that the fund balance number in 24 up here at the top was slightly over $2 million, and right now we're at $700,000. So, I know that, I said all this. I went ahead and prepared all this. I don't know what that is, but I'll send that to you guys. I'll make sure you get it, as so you can look at the expenditures for the month. And just as, Mr. Price was asking earlier, here was the LGIP investment rates for July of 2024 versus July of 2025. So I apologize for that. I'll get you that, information. But let me look, there was, one other thing that I want to share with you. Two more things I want to share with you. One is the retention bonus. I know it was requested by the board to share the information as soon as we have that. Hot off the press as of 20 this afternoon. We have completed the bonus calculations, and we have 1,573 employees that will receive the bonus on this Friday. 44 of those received the part-time, 1,529 get the full cost, and it was $2.504 million. And I was guessing
Good estimate.
2.5 million. Obviously, that was just based on trends. We've been fairly consistent over the last few years. You see the account number where you will be able to review it in your board packages each month as we go through. This is what will be paid out on Friday, but if anybody is on leave that was with us last year, but maybe they've gone out on maternity leave over the summer, they will get their bonus when they return. So there may be a few other people. We typically have about $10,000 that we pay out when they come back. So typically by the end of October, everybody's back and we should have a good final number. But if you are on leave, this bonus gets accrued back into against last year that we looked at earlier for the fund balance. Anybody that comes in after this bonus calculation gets accrued into the current year. So you'll see it, that's what you'll see on your monthly financial statements, that anybody that's currently on leave, when they return, and we pay the bonus out to them. So you'll see that.
Would you mind including that in our minutes so we have that,
Sure,
that sheet?
I'll be
That's
glad to
good.
I'll make sure that Ms. Wright gets those. And then, yes, this was the other thing that I wanted to share with you. I know the board voted during the budget process to move the funds that was originally discussed and approved during as we were going through the budget process. If the board of trustees was going to get compensation, we put that in the budget, calculations, and you guys approved the number. And then as we were finalizing the budget, there was the board motion to move that over to academic assistance since the, state board, is that state board? Ethics Commission came out with their ruling, and we didn't wanna leave it under the board compensation account, but we saved the money. So as you guys voted, we moved it to academic assistance, and then as, Dr. Kelly, Ms. Elrod, and the instructional team used that is where it is located. I just wanted you to be aware of that, so you would know where to look on your financial statements when you get that.
It's, you got it coded for primary, Amy. Would you go use it, Dr. Kelly, for the test prep, or, you know, so
It'd
that'd
be
3 through
elementary and
5?
middle.
Okay.
And so that will change. When we determine that, then part of it will be 112, and then the middle school part will be 100, 114,
Gotcha.
10. So if that number changes, just look at the ACA and take the 112 and the 113, or again, I can bring it to you guys and show it to you still. So
Hey.
this one, yes ma'am.
What's that one book, one school?
That is when Dr. you might want to explain
Sure.
that to me.
It is a community effort been going on, well, I think, Mr. Dukes, when you were here, One
Yeah,
Book, One
yeah.
School. So it's been going on for a while. It's where they try to incorporate a book school-wide, and they include the parents and guardians. So the students get a book, the parents get a book, and they read it together, and they do activities at school too. So it really is trying to build literacy achievement through the partnership with parents and showing and modeling parents how to read with their children, how to ask questions. They'll give sample questions, and they do this every day or every week. And then they'll bring in guest readers. So like myself, I've been recorded reading to kids or coming in each chapter. I'm trying to think of some examples of the books. Yes, Charlotte's Web was one. So, but they do have the books. The books are approved by Kelly Elrod, Robin Gay in the past, myself prior to that, Mr. Dukes prior to that. And so the books are approved, and then they work with the parents.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
And I'm not gonna ask any questions now, but I do have a question on sole source. And probably Ms. Elrod would help me get an answer to that, and of course purchasing, but that's one I'll ask afterwards. I just don't want you to get going before I ask.
Thank y'all, and I will get you those July numbers. I apologize for that. That is
And
on me.
quick-
I was doing too much.
Quick question, I know this was asked last January, and I don't remember the answer. Green Finney and Cawley, how long have we had them
We have had that company the entire time I've been here.
In a row?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it kind of standard operating procedure, kind of in accounting circles, to redo bids like every 5 years?
We have redone bids
Mhm.
since my tenure. We have done that, but we have changed accounting firms. I think if you look across the state, you're gonna see a lot of different things statewide. A lot of, like Elliott Davis, which is where I came from, they no longer do, governmental audits. So the pool of firms that will do, any kind of government, not just education, is shrinking down. So there's not a lot of options inside of South Carolina. We can go get somebody from outside of South Carolina. So to combat that, what we've tried to do internally with this firm is they don't keep the same folks that work on the audit, and they switch the partner on the audit as well. So it's somebody that hasn't worked with us that comes in about every 3 years and starts over internally. But obviously, we can do it if you guys would like to.
I was just curious. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Harden, appreciate that. All right, Ms.
So we don't have to do anything with that, right? Just go on.
We need to go into executive session.
Yes, okay. Number 9, we'll go into executive session, A, section 3470, A, discussion of employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of any employees regulated by a public body. And then A, 2025-2026 personal recommendations, and B, selection, section 347, A2, proposed purchase or sale of property.
I make a motion, we go into executive session for items listed by Madam Chair.
Second.
Okay, it's made a motion and second that we will go with vote